production possibility curve? Well, production possibility curve means that, as I said earlier, the resources are limited, and in a given situation there are two things which have to be produced, but the resource is that much, it is limited. So, we are going to decide what is to be produced and how much can be produced out of that limited resource, and which one are we going to give more importance and which one is going to get less importance. Now, first of all, before going into detail about the production possibility curve, let us try and understand this by a graphic representation, and that is, I have taken A, B, C, D, E and F, that is, I take up 6 situations, and there are two things which can be produced in a particular situation. Say for example, if I were to produce wheat and I were to produce tanks, okay, one to do with the basic necessity of human beings and other to do with the armed security of the country. So, what I have is 0 for 15, 1 for 14, 2 for 12, 3 for 9, 4 for 5 and 5 for 0. So, this is my graphic representation. It says when it is 0 for 15. So, what I am going to do is I am going to plot it in this manner. Say for example, the x axis that I have, the 0 for 15 that I have, that means here. Then I have 1 for 14, which means here. Then I have 2 for 12, which means this is that figure that I have here, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what I have here is 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. So, what I have done is, for 1 it was here the 0, then 1 for 14, then I have 2 for 12, then I have 3 for 9 here, then I have 4 for 5, which means here, and I have for the next one, that is the 5, I have the 0 here, which means the curve which I will be drawing will be this. When I draw this curve, this is called as the production possibility curve. But this production possibility curve that I have, there are two other things which can be done, and that will be the full utilization of resources and the underutilization of resources. Here the complete that I had given was 15, which means here, and here the maximum that I had was 5, which means if I had to have the full utilization of resources, it would be here and it would be here, which means the curve would be like this. And if it was to be underutilization of resources, if it was to be underutilization of resources, that means it would be this. So, the full utilization of resources is when we make the better use of the resources that we have, and the underutilization is when we are not able to make the correct use of it, and the production possibility curve is the curve which in whenever the two choices are given and we are making choice as to how much is to be produced, one quantity and the other how much. Here the distinction that we had taken was for the wheat and the tank. Now in more detail I shall tell you about the production possibility curve as to why it is concave and what all are the other possibilities that could have been had in the next clipping. The production possibility curve which we had drawn in the previous clipping, it has certain set basic features, and those are that the production possibility curve first of all What is it? It is in fact a diagrammatic representation that the resources are fixed, are limited, and we have to make choice as to what has to be produced and what is better for the economy. So, the usage of resources by the term of the needs that we have, that is the production possibility curve. So, in simple layman's language, it is deciding upon between two things what has to be produced, what is best for us is depicted by the production possibility curve. This production possibility curve is always downward sloping from left to right. Now, what does it signify? When it is downward sloping, it comes like this. It does not happen that it goes from here to here. It is always, as I said, downward sloping, that too from left to right, which means that one item, one commodity, one good has been sacrificed for the other, as we had seen in the case of wheat and tank, that one commodity has been sacrificed because our resources were limited. We could have produced either wheat or tanks because maybe the money that we had was only that much. Maybe the manpower that we had was only that much. So, when we are making the sacrifice of a good, of a commodity, that is the time that this production possibility curve, wherein we show has the downward sloping curve and from left to right. Next is, this production possibility curve is always concave in origin. Now, why is it so? The simple answer to this is that it is concave in origin because of the increasing marginal opportunity cost. And that is the reason that because of this factor, it becomes concave in origin. These are the two features which are always there, but sometimes we feel, can it be such that the curve can be in straight line? Well, this would have been a hypothetical situation, because this is a situation wherein if we would have been able to make the best use of the resources, if the limits that we have were able to satisfy us, they would be giving us the best cost, they would be giving us the best production, it would have been in straight line, which generally does not happen. So, remember, the production possibility curve, which is the most important topic in this chapter, deals on showing that there are two alternatives, there are two commodities, and we have to make a choice between them, and we shall be deciding upon it owing to our needs, owing to our resources, and owing to the people that we have. And when this is done, we draw the production possibility curve, which becomes downward sloping from left to right, because the sacrifice which has been made of one item against another and is always concave in origin because of the increasing marginal opportunity cost.